I feel like my camera's crooked. Or whatever. Hey y'all, it's Traceface here, and welcome to Hookah and Dish. Today's episode is no hookah, just dish. I was actually inspired by a young lady on TikTok. Sorry, my dog isn't here. Because she was doing a follow-up video about her deceased brother. It was really crazy just hearing her story, and I think her brother passed away when he was like 15, or he just turned 16, and my brother also passed away fairly young. He was 14. So I don't know, I kind of feel like it's time. She really inspired me. It was just so weird, and like, I don't know. I'm gonna put her handle in the somewhere here, and also in the description bar, to go show her some love. Yeah, let's go. My brother was 14 when he was murdered on the cold streets of Boston on December 22nd, 2006. That year alone was a very interesting year. I always call it like one of the best and the worst years of my life. I graduated high school that year. You know, I was entering into college, I was working, I went to prom. My mother just bought our first home, so 2006 was lit. Me and someone I considered like my first love was together. I think everything was on the up and up, you know. Me and my brother, I would say our relationship is like literally like a thin line between love and hate. Like, we couldn't stand each other, but that was my dog. He couldn't stand me. We used to fight, like when we were younger, like physically fight. But at the end of the day, you know, that was still my little bro. I was still big sis, you know, whatever. There was actually a series of events that happened also in 2006 that led up to just the day that my brother passed away. Honestly, I can't remember verbatim, like, oh, I woke up and I went to go smell the roses. Like, honestly, I can't tell you what happened all day up until I was hanging out with who my man was at the time. My man. We were having like family night at his house. His mother was cooking seafood. His sister was there, his brother was there, and you know, I was planning on staying the weekend there. So I just knew, like, I felt like that day was just off. But I couldn't really put my finger on it. But something was off. But it wasn't only that day. There was like some things leading up to his passing that at the time it didn't make sense, but after, I felt like I was being prepared for this moment, right? So I'm from Boston, and my ex at the time used to live in Chelsea. So it being super duper late back in the day, now the buses run a little later, but the last bus running was like 12 o'clock. Like between 12 and 1 was the last call for train, last call for bus. Literally, you would have been stranded if you did not catch the last everything. You would have been stuck wherever you were at. And then back then, there was no Uber. So you would have to take a taxi, or someone would have to pick you up, or you walk. That's not funny, but yeah. And I told him, I was like, you know what? I think we should reschedule this. Like, I feel like I have to go home. Like, something is just not sitting right. And he was just like, are you sure? Is everything okay? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, everything's fine, but I don't know. I'm trying to like feel the vibe. I'm eating, we're hanging out. And then my brother calls me and he asked me if I had my mother's car. So I told him, I was like, oh no, I'm in Chelsea with so-and-so. But I was like, I can go home, grab the car, and go pick you up. Just stay wherever you're at. He was like, no, it's okay. Me and my bestie can walk. So I'm assuming the plan was him and his bestie walk back to the house, and he would have just stayed the night because it was really, really late. I was just like, are you sure? Just stay where you're at. I'll go home and get mommy's car. And he was like, no, sis, I'm good, I'll walk. After the phone call, I was telling my ex, I'm like, yo, something is just not sitting right with me. I said, yo, I have to go home. And he was like, are you sure? You sure it's late? And I'm telling you, like, I swear it was the grace of God. I caught the last bus, literally the exact last bus from Chelsea to take me to the station, and literally hopped on the last train of the night. So that train would take me from wherever to Boston. On the train ride home, well, actually, as I was leaving, my ex gave me the Video Vixen book. We weren't in our phones as much because our phones were super out of date. I'm on the train and I'm trying to read the book, and I cannot focus on reading this book for nothing. Like, I could not focus, and I'm just like, what the heck? I'm like, whatever. So I'm just kind of skimming through it. When you're on the red line, there were certain stops where you would lose service. It didn't matter what carrier you had, you lost service. Between Charlotte and then Ashmont, Charlotte used to be a dead zone. Like, once you are entering Charlotte, like, it's a complete dead zone. You would then pick up reception when you get to not Forest Hills, Fields Corner, which is right before Ashmont, because Ashmont was the last stop. As we're entering into Charlotte, my mom is blowing me up. So I answer the phone, all I hear is her crying. Mom, like, I can't, like, yeah, hello. She's trying to talk in the midst of her crying, and my reception is going out. So now I'm getting annoyed because I'm sitting here like, what the hell? Her friend that was with her, then he calls me. And so he just told me straight up, Ben was shot. And I'm like, wait, what? Ben was shot? What do you mean Ben was shot? Like, I don't know what happened. I just started bawling. Like, bawling. At this point, we're now at Ashmont, and I'm just hysterical, okay? Hysterically crying. Not too long, like literally not too long after I got off at Ashmont Station, my cousin rolls up with a bunch of my cousins stuffed in a car like sardines, and like, get in the car, let's go. Like, what do you mean he was shot? Like, I don't understand. Like, I need answers. Like, I don't get it. I didn't comprehend what was happening. Called my ex. Him and his siblings are spazzing out because we all like kind of grew up together. So when I get there, my aunt is there, everyone's like consoling each other, and I'm just so confused. Now at this point, like, I'm like low-key hyperventilating because I don't know what's happening. All I know is that he was shot. That's it. Like, one of the doctors came or whatever, and he was like, honestly, I don't know if he said anything prior to this, but all I remember was, who's going to identify the body? And it still didn't sink in, I don't think. Yeah, it didn't really sink in, but I know I was in tears. Like, I lost my little brother. My stomach instantly started curdling. Like, I drink sour milk. My stomach started hurting so bad. And I just felt so heavy. But I felt like I couldn't do too much. I couldn't grieve because who's gonna be there for my mom everyone goes on with their life. Yeah. We go down to the coroner's office. They take us into this room. My heartbeat is just like, but I said, nah, I have to be there with my mom. And I see my almost 6 foot, 14-year-old brother spread out on like a steel table, just lifeless. And I was just like, wow. I touched him and he was so cold. So cold. And I was like, wow. He didn't look like him. He looked so angry. I'm just like, yo. Literally, like, I was at a loss for words. He was really gone. And you can see where they like opened up his chest, like that, like Y looking shape. And my mom, you know, she's a Christian, and she was just like, oh, before he goes to the funeral home, can you please remove the earring? Like any jewelry, just remove it. And I don't know who the hell pierced my brother's ear, because my mother was not having that. I remember making the calls. Like, there was no time for me to grieve. My mom just lost a child whom she carried for 9 months, who she raised on her own. Her only son, to the streets. His godmother went down to Florida and she wanted to take him with her for the holidays. And you know, we're older now, so we kind of have a choice, like if we wanted to go or not. And he's just like, no, I want to, you know, be down here with my friends and blah, blah. And, you know, she was begging him to go with her. And he was just like, nah, whatever. Which, you know, I'm not surprised. He's 14. You know, he's able to kind of step out on his own or whatever. So I'm not surprised. There was just like a lot of blurry moments. Like, it was just so much happening. So much going on. So much talking to the police. So much talking to the news. So much talking to like the newspaper. Kind of shut off. I was present, but not really. I felt like there wasn't really room for me to grieve because I didn't have time for that. Like, I felt like me and my mother can't grieve. Somebody has to be kind of like coherent and, you know, excuse me, keep the ball rolling. Like, I felt guilt for years. Like, I felt so much guilt because I felt like if I would have left when my intuition was pushing me to leave, I feel like I could have convinced him enough to stay where he was at so I can go pick him up. But also in the same breath, it could have been 10 times worse, because now the person who did it obviously knew their target, but we all could have gotten hit, you know? Thank you guys for coming to my Hookah and Dish talk today. If you have any questions or anything like that, you can definitely leave it down below, and let's be friends on social media. All of my social handles will be down at the description bar. That's all I got for now. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.